Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Future Ready Tallahassee webinar series hosted by Tallahassee State College and the Tallahassee Chamber of Commerce. We're glad you're spending your Tuesday mid-morning with us, and you are in for a real treat. We have G. Williams here. She is the founder and CEO of Grova Creative. She has a laundry list of accolades and recognition that I can't even get into because it'll take too much time up from our day. But I just want to briefly say, we're really lucky to have her here today. She has her finger on the pulse on all things AI and marketing. So please, utilize her time here today. Listen, we're recording if you want to listen back. And then if you have questions at the end, we'll be watching the Q&A box on the chat. All right, well, without further ado, I will turn it over to you, G.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. I'm so excited to be here and thank you for asking me to do this. Um, so really quick, some quick things about me. So I've been in marketing for almost 2 decades now, and in the last 4 years, I've spent a lot of time understanding how to use AI within the marketing trends. I'm actually certified in AI and marketing through MMA and a few other organizations and universities. So I'm really happy to extend my knowledge. I just want to preface with everybody that as much as I know about marketing for AI or AI marketing, excuse me, I am not the best on all the little nuances and tech behind how all of that works, but I do know how it works to increase and benefit your marketing. So that's what I'm going to focus on today. So, before I dive into AI's role in marketing, I think it's worth looking back just for a slight moment to see how quickly technology has evolved, especially these last couple of years. Because just 2 years ago, we were super impressed that AI could match the average high school student on AP exams. I mean, just back in 2023, it outperformed high school students in most categories. But today, we're pushing AI much harder and with benchmarks that go far beyond just school level tests. So one example is the GPQA Diamond exam, which is a graduate level test so challenging that even domain experts, like people pursuing their PhDs, score actually about 65%. And skilled professionals with unlimited access to searching Google for their questions still average about 34%. Even giving them 30 minutes, spending 30 minutes on each question, it's still only 34%. And yet, AI scored 92%. And so the idea is that AI is just climbing an academic ladder from high school to college to expert. But that isn't quite accurate. What's really happening is stranger. AI is becoming brilliant in some incredibly difficult areas, while technically it's still struggling with things that seem basic or intuitive to us. It's not really a linear growth, it's more of a lopsided evolution. But I wanted to bring that up because today we're going to be focusing on the brilliant part of AI, and what it can do for you when it comes to your marketing, and what areas we can tap in, and what areas we as marketers can tap in, which I'm going to get way more in detail. But at the very beginning, that's just the main things are content creation, pattern recognition, personalization. But at the end of the day, we can use AI for those things, but it can't replace things like human instincts, empathy, creativity, because all of those things define branding, and we still need all of those things while using AI. So, I'm going to have some slides for you guys today. I'm going to skip this stuff about me. If you would like to get to know me, want to talk, please feel free to reach out. I would love to see how we could help, or just get to know each other, or any questions about AI. I would love to answer them for you. So I'm going to go to really quick. I already said this, but it's so important because there's still fear with adopting AI. But I think it's important for you to know that this artificial intelligence is not going to replace professional marketers and creatives. But I will say that those who do not adapt and adopt to using AI partially, I do think they're going to be outpaced for those who don't. And why I'm telling you that, again, going back to that fear, there's still, when we do polls and we talk about AI and talk about people who may want to use it, there is a learning curve. There is a little uh, timidness to get started, but I promise you, if you use it the way that it's best intended for marketing, you'll be in a much better place. So today we are going to learn how to leverage technology and creativity to navigate business growth and create more human marketing. So that's going to be everything from boosting creativity, enhancing your brand, but at the same time, I don't, you're going to hear me say this multiple times because it's such an important element when you're using AI as a marketing assistant, is you cannot sacrifice the human authenticity. We are now in an era called trust first marketing. And what that means is that people, especially consumers, prospects that you're talking to, they want to feel connected to you. They're shopping their values. And if you're not being original or personable or even truly authentic, a lot of consumers today can tell very quickly that you're not genuine. And that forces distrust, essentially. And we don't want that. So, everything we do with AI today, at the end of the day, you need to remember these things. You need to make sure you humanize it, you put your own spin on it, and don't trust everything that AI spits out because it's not always accurate. Um, but yeah. Okay, so today we are going to do, I'm going to skip the overview of AI just because, again, my expertise is how to use it. But I do want to talk about how marketers feel about it, why it matters, and I'm going to explain to you guys how we use it. I'm going to also give you some tools to use and some prompts and do some demos, some live demos. And I forgot to ask, do they have the capabilities to do like questions or chat? Sorry, I probably should have asked that at the beginning. Um, but I don't see a chat feature in here, so I may not be able to see that. But no worries.
We'll have the Q&A. The Q&A option will be open if folks.
Okay, at the end, got it. And then if we have time, I would love to talk to you guys about how to protect yourself against AI, use AI security, and all of that jazz. So. Why has AI become more popular in the last 3 years? I think we all know the answer to that. There's been major advances in generative AI. It's better computing power and better cloud access. There's better user-friendly tools, and it's been an explosion of AI platforms coming out that help efficiency and productivity. But also, I think the media has played a part in that. And the media has adopted AI as well. And I think that's helping the public fascination and people getting more and more used to it. But at the end of the day, oh, I forgot about this slide. Sorry. So AI has been around for decades, but in the last 3 years, breakthroughs in generative models and user-friendly tools have turned it into a game changer for businesses and everyday users. So basically, what we're saying is it's more readily accessible. The user interface is a lot easier, um, and it can prove to help our productivity. So we're a little more open to maybe trying it more so now than a couple years ago. Because in all reality, we've been using AI for years. This is not something new. Accessibility is what's new. So if you've been in Mailchimp before and you set up your email sequencing, where you have automated email blasts go out depending how someone interacts with your email, that was AI. But now we're just taking that and using machine learning and a lot more to help elevate what we're doing. So how do people like me, people in my field, feel about AI? Well, I'm sure it's no guess to any of you guys who are sitting here with me today, but it is a huge trend in marketing right now. It is the rave. We're all talking about it. We're all trying to continue to learn what's changing, how we can implement it into our everyday creative tasks. But at the end of the day, we want to leave more room to be more creative. Um, so AI is accelerating and marketing is basically moving forward with it. We're using it to give ourselves more time to be more creative and having more time to do the things that we love. And I have some data points really quick for you guys, just so you can understand. Again, I think it's really important for you to understand how many people are starting to adapt it to help with their marketing because it's not something we need to fear. It's just something we need to learn. It's a new platform we just need to learn. So 68% of people like me, marketers, people in the marketing industry, we say that AI has actually really helped use our careers. And it helps us learn new skills. As I said before, it gives you more free time to do the things that we enjoy. We can repurpose content, so you can write it once and then repurpose it for different platforms, which obviously cuts down on time. Um, but we use it as an assistant. We believe most content is created. Us as as marketers believe that 63% of, I'm tripping over my words today, but 63% of us believe most content is created with some AI involvement, and 62% says AI is important in their marketing strategy. So at the end of the day, um, the using AI speaks volumes because it's not self-sufficient, it's dependent on human knowledge. So to generate something that's worth your customer's time, we still need to make sure we humanize it. So really quickly, 75% of marketers use AI to reduce the time they spent on manual tasks, plus being more productive at work. 86% of us say AI saves us about 1+ hour a day by streaming our creative tasks. 81% we use AI, says it's effective in assisting them in their roles. And then 56% use it for content creation. So that helps us make the content perform better. So, what tasks can you automate with AI? You can improve the quality of your content. You can create content more efficiently. You can make significantly more content, and you can create more personalized content. So we backing that up, we use it for everything from customer support chat bots. So HubSpot has, a chat bot you can put on your website without having to do code. There's also, if you're on Facebook and you have Messenger live on your business page, that's something you can implement on your website to also help give people a quick opportunity to message you, and then you can set that up with automatic messages. And that is a little bit of AI, soft AI, but it's AI. You can use AI for SEO keyword research. That is probably one of the biggest things that's changed the game for my industry is how much we use things like Perplexity, ChatGPT, Cloud, and to help us write SEO metadata and to also look at websites to make sure that they do have really good SEO metadata on the back end. Now, with that being said, the game has changed when it comes to SEO because of AI. So, a lot of you, I'm assuming, are on Google, right? And if you go to Google and you Google anything, there used to be a time where Google would scan the internet and it would pull things for you to search and look at based off metadata conical tags on the back end. Well, now, why this is such an important feature that's changed for search, and now Google's using AI for their search, it's hurting some websites, actually, quite a few websites. Because when you go to search now and you type in what you want to search, and then what does Google do? It gives you an AI summary. And then after the AI summary, it then pulls down the content that it's pulled from other websites for you to look at. Well, what's the whole point of organic SEO? It's to get people to click on your website. But if Google is now doing a Google summary for you and pulling data really quickly and putting it in the top paragraph, how often do you think people are going to go past that? It's not very often because they find what they need. So now people are not clicking on your websites. So now we need to shift focus on where we are focusing on our SEO, which is making sure that it's performing for AI search because 76% of, especially in the Alpha and Gen Z generation, millennials are starting to catch on a little bit too. Gen Zers are doing it a little bit, not as much though as Alpha and Gen Z, but they're not using Google to search anymore. They're just going to ChatGPT or Perplexity or any of the platforms and typing in their questions for search. And so now we need to make sure we're setting up our websites so that we can be found through ChatGPT or another AI platform versus being found on the traditional SEO organic way. So sorry, I went off on a tangent there on SEO, but that's a very important factor that's changed, especially leading into 2026 when it comes to, so we get a lot of questions now. People ask me like, should we be focusing on our SEO? Yes, but we have to pivot on how we focus on it so that it's more available for AI search. But anyway, going back to how we can use AI to automate some tasks, we can do it for email personalization, we can do it for voice and tone adjustments, website meta descriptions, market segmentation, summarizations, and call to actions. So with content creation, and again, I'm going to skip some of these slides because um, well, I'll talk about this really, really quick. So what this is telling you is what's the most popular AI tools being used right now, and that is chatbots. And there's a lot of tools out there for chatbots. My favorite is HubSpot, but that doesn't mean there aren't other options out there because there are plenty. There are plenty. And then again, going back to how marketers use AI. And so I'm gonna let you guys scan this. And so this is leads you to a link that has a bunch of AI tools that you guys can see. So they're not hot linked. So this is what you'll see when you scan that QR code. So I'll minimize this so the QR code's there. But when you scan that, you're then going to get these advertising tools and they're not clickable and I apologize because I copied them from a PDF I had and the links didn't click over, but these are some, I break it down for you by creative design tools, research tools, marketing tools, ad buying tools, and then I cite some of the places where I found this information, but I also have on here for you some ChatGPT prompt guidelines. And again, these are just ones I found off the internet that I've used myself personally over the years, and I think they're really good in breaking down the prompts. But that's what you will find in that QR code when you scan. And I'll leave it on just for like number two, another 2 seconds, so everyone has a chance to scan that. Okay. So, some popular platforms for you guys to think about. So, I will preface with this AI, there's a lot out there, a lot. Okay. Um, the best advice I can give you is find two or three that you really enjoy using and dive in because it does take time for these platforms to learn you. And you're basically training it to be your assistant, especially in marketing. So I would advise you to maybe pick a couple, try them out, see which one you like. I personally use ChatGPT. Perplexity is another one. I don't have it on this list, but I like Perplexity because it tends to be a little better especially when it comes to research and citing its sources. But I do like ChatGPT just because the user interface is very easy. Also, I was one of the when it first came out, I started using it, and I've been like it knows me now, and for me to go to somewhere else it'd be me starting all over essentially. I use Midjourney a lot. We use Meta's AI quite a bit, but again, knowing how you want to work, playing around with these, and then picking two or three to really hone in on would be your best bet. But this, like I said, this is a list of ones that are really good. Google's Whisk is actually in beta testing, but it's basically studying AI. So if you're curious on what that is and helping Google understand more AI parameters, that one's a really fun one to beta test. But yeah. So how we use AI for content creation. Um, Most popular ways is text-based content creation. And I say text-based because you can also use AI for visual creation, content creation as well. We use it a lot for research, automated conversational marketing, media content creation, data analysis, and reporting. So again, going like breaking that down. So across digital, physical, and social marketing channels, the content creation boom has led to higher expectations for marketing than in previous years. So in order for us to stay relevant, we are often tasked with large workloads and tight turnaround times with a lot of content. And so in our industry, we started to feel a little bit overwhelmed. So when we leaned on AI, it gave us an opportunity to stay up to date with content trends, find new tactics to accomplish our goals. And honestly, it gave us like a head start to be the subject matter and whatever we were trying to research. So it can be very what's what I'm looking for. It's awesome. Let's just say it's awesome. That's a great word. It's awesome. Um, let's see. So going back to text-based, let's see. So AI does have some negative connotations with it, especially when people use it to write content. And when I say that, I'm saying that loosely because really how you should be using AI with content is using it as a guide and as an outline. Like you still want to customize your content so that you're speaking to the right audience, that you have your own voice. But a lot of people are very nervous about AI because of the concerns of plagiarism, bias, data security, and basically, hope like probably not too far away is going to be government regulation. So just keep that in mind because especially if you use ChatGPT, it's not perfect. Things that it spits out, you do have to double check, especially when you're doing research. But at the end of the day, it is a very great tool to help advance and elevate your writing. Let's see. So I'm going to go here really quick and get into best practices so that we can start going into prompts and demos and having fun with AI. So I do want to say, don't make the mistake of using AI generated text without making it your own. Um, I have this later in the presentation, but we're talking about it now, and we've talked about Google, and so I do want to bring it up because a lot of people do ask me if I just go to ChatGPT or Perplexity or Google LM or Notebook LM, excuse me, wherever I go to write my content for help, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna go. I'm not gonna write it. I'm just gonna let ChatGPT write it for me. Um, and then I post it on my website. There was a time where you could potentially be penalized by Google search and their back-end bots that scan the internet, and it would hurt you. But that's not the case anymore. Google has adapted their back-end programming and the way they do search results. And to be honest, now all that matters is that the content is quality content, it's relevant, and as long as it's relevant and quality, Google's not going to penalize you. But with that being said, that doesn't mean your consumers are going to, or your prospects are going to relate to what you wrote. So that's why it's so important to go back and make it your own. Okay, so best practices. Brainstorm original content ideas. Yes, I do. I do. My bad. I wanted to talk really quickly about video and before I get into best practices, because I know this is becoming more and more popular where people are using AI video platforms to create video. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you have to be really careful when you're using AI video and AI voice and audio because this, again, going back to what I talked about very quickly at the beginning, we are in the era of trust first marketing. When you do AI videos and because you can, I don't want people to think like, well, G said don't do an AI video. I'm not saying don't do an AI video. What I'm saying is when we do an AI video, you want to make sure that it doesn't look generic, stiff, or obviously machine made because immediately that's going to turn off your prospects or your audience or your consumers immediately because they're going to be like, that's not authentic. No. Also, a lot of times AI videos can come off like lack of emotional connection and they kind of feel a little too cold. Um, and people want to relate. People want to connect with you right now. So especially post COVID, that's why trust first marketing is so important because people are looking for that relatability, that connection that you are someone that stands with them and their beliefs and they want to be loyal to you because of that. So when you come off and you do these AI videos and they look like a machine did it or they don't look like humanized, you will turn people off. And it's fun to see when you scroll through social media, you can tell which videos are AI, which videos were not AI. And at some point, we're going to be able to tell which videos were done with AI, but also with the human touch. But right now, it's a little harder to tell. But if it's harder to tell, that means you're doing it right. You're using the platform right. Um, but anyway, let me go back to best practices. I just want to talk about video really quick because that's so important and a lot of people are using it right now for video. But anyway, going back to best practices. So number one, brainstorm original content ideas. So AI tools can help optimize content, but their ability to generate new ideas is still limited. It is getting better and it continues to get better because, as I mentioned earlier, they're really great at some things, and then other things they're still learning, or we don't know where they're going to end up. But they do tend to lack like a little bit of creativity or unique perspectives, in my opinion, that human marketers bring to the table. So, again, going back to before opening your AI tool of choice, consider brainstorming some original ideas and experimenting with ways that AI can help you best meet your content goals and those creative ideas. I hope that makes sense. Because I feel like I just did like a whole word vomit. But anyway, number two, you want to make it personal. And I'm so sorry because I am going to be a broken record because I'm going to keep saying this because it's so important to marketing and it's so important because you guys are taking advantage of AI, which is so great. But we also want to make sure that we're not hurting you when you're doing your marketing and speaking to your customer base. We want to elevate it, not hurt. So if you're using tools like ChatGPT or oh, I forgot. HubSpot has one too. AI content writer. When you make adjustments to outputs by providing additional prompts, that's how you can make it more personable. So, for example, if you were to go to ChatGPT, and I'm going to talk about more prompts later, but an example prompt would be like, act as if you're an AI content writer. And I would like you to create a blog based on whatever your prompt would be. So based on health in the new year. I want it to feel personable. I want it to be relatable and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you're allowed to tell AI what you want your styling and tone to be. And it's very important that you do because it can quickly come out and the content can be very, there it is. But it may not be your voice, it may not be your tone, your business. And when I say by yours, I'm talking about your business tone. Because every brand has a voice, every brand has a look, every brand has a sound. So you want to train your tool of preference to understand what that is. And over time, it will know it. And over time, you won't even have to tell it anymore because it will just know. So, yeah. Number three. Fast or fact check outputs every time. So they do pull from massive amounts of data. Like these platforms, it is crazy the data set that they can pull from. And again, I'm not the technical person, so I'm not going to be much help on all that technical jargon. But what I can say is that think about it. It's pulling from the internet, and the internet's not always accurate. So just because someone wrote it, posted it, something like ChatGPT is going to scan it, and it doesn't know technically every time right from wrong. It's just like we found this on the internet, we scanned it, we're going to include it in the content. So if you're using it for research, it's really important that you fact check every statement because you don't want it to come back negatively on your organization if something's inaccurate, and that will hurt customer trust. So you do want to prioritize quality assurance. And that includes, everything from checking grammar, spelling, tonal adjustments, because at the end of the day, we want everything to go back to what personalization. Even if you write content without the support of an AI tool, consider how running your finished content through a text generator can help streamline your content and improve engagement. So it's the same thing. So even if you decide you want to write outside of AI, awesome. People still do. We still do. But we always do put it in AI and say, hey, whether the prompt is, I wrote this article about so and so, I would like you to scan it to make sure that the reading level is smooth. Because that is a big factor for SEO. You want your reading and transition, your reading level and transitions to be very smooth. So that's another way to help you prioritize quality assurance through AI. So number five is expand your creative horizons with AI. It's your creative partner. It's supposed to be fun. Have fun with it. Don't be scared of it. I promise. Once you get used to it and using it, everything from social posts to writing blogs to writing your emails to answering negative reviews, it's going to become so much easier for you to be able to knock that stuff out fast. Um, and then the last tip I have for you guys is, yeah, don't forget about the human touch. I think you guys could have guessed that. But add human vibrancy to factual content, weave in your key messaging and selling points, and make a quick adjustments for readability and flow whenever possible. So let's get into prompts. Yes, I love it. Okay. So the truth is, outputs don't always hit the mark. Okay. You can't completely rely on the platform you're using for AI because success actually largely depends on your prompt quality. So that's why you see so many people talking about prompts and the right way to do a prompt and the wrong way to do a prompt and to be honest, it's not about writing the perfect prompt, but guiding the tool towards your desired outcome. I'm going to say that again. It's not about writing one perfect prompt, but it's about guiding your AI platform of choice towards your desired outcome. Ooh, I forgot I had a slide on that because that's so important. So there is like this debate um, in the world of AI marketers that is a short prompt better than a long prompt? And you're going to hear people say a short prompt is better. You're going to hear people say a long prompt is better. I'm going to tell you, in my experience, longer detailed prompts with specific boundaries and constraints tend to perform better. I actually keep a file, and I recommend you guys do this, a file of high performing prompts that I've used in the past that got my desired outcome without having to ask it two or three, four times. So when you do get a prompt, when you do write down a prompt and it works for you and you got what you want, I highly, 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 highly recommend you take that prompt and you put it somewhere so that you can refer back to it. So how do we structure a prompt? Well, like I said earlier, the effectiveness of your platform of choice relies heavily on clarity and structure of your prompts. So I'm here today to help guide you in crafting better prompts. And there's three things you want to make sure that you include. You want to provide context, so clearly state the situation or background information to help your platform better understand the task. I use ChatGPT, so you might hear me say ChatGPT here and there, but at the end of the day, it's whatever platform you decide to focus on. I am not selling ChatGPT because, like I said, there's so many good ones out there. It really comes down to which one reads back to you the best, what user interface you like. And to be honest, I've been using it for so long, I don't have the energy to train another one, and I don't need to. So thank goodness. But anyway, for example, instead of asking, how do I write a good email? You could say, I need to write an email to my team about upcoming project deadline. Can you provide a professional template for that? So the difference is, how do I write a good email versus like you put that in ChatGPT, they're going to tell you how to write a good email. They're going to say, have an intro. I really don't know what they're going to say, but I'm just making this up. But let's see. We can put this in ChatGPT now and see what it says. And everyone can see this, I'm assuming, right? Yeah, okay. I guess right. So it's sitting here and it's just basically telling me you need a subject line, you need a greeting, you need context, you need made point, clear, call to action, blah. But that wasn't our outcome. Our outcome is that we need an email to send to our team about our upcoming project deadline. And this one technically still isn't as specific as it could. That is happening in 2 weeks. Can you provide a professional template for that? Because we are behind and need to catch up, and the client is upset. So let's see what happens. Then here we go. So it says, I want to flag that we are 2 weeks out from the project deadline. We currently are behind schedule, and the client has expressed understandable frustration about timing and progress, blah, 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 blah. But do you see the difference? Like the first one was not going to give me the outcome I needed. The second one is a much better starting point. And then I would take this and then I would write it. And this one still gave me a template because I did it most likely because I did it in the same chat, which is fine. And I did, to be honest, I probably should have said, I want you to write the email for me. And I didn't tell it exactly. So now it's giving me an outline and not writing the email. But again, going back to what I was saying is you have to provide context so you can get the outcome that you want. All right. So number two, be specific. And I kind of just said as much. Avoid vague requests and specify exactly what you need. So again, another example, write something about time management versus can you create a 3 paragraph article about time management techniques for busy professionals? Other things that you can be very specific about. So for whatever reason, ChatGPT loves the M dash. It uses the M dash for everything. I have trained my ChatGPT not to use the M dash as much. You can even sit there and put in there, can you create a 3 paragraph article about time management techniques for busy professionals? Please avoid using the M dash. And yes, I say please to my bot, but you don't have to. You can just say avoid using M dash in the sentences. You can even go a step further and say, I would like the tone to be direct and professional. So, and number three, define outcomes. So if you have a desired structure or tone, make that explicit. So another example would be write a step-by-step guide in a friendly and approachable tone for whatever blog audience, blah, 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 that I would have. So at the end of the day, um, examples of good versus bad prompts. So bad prompt, tell me about marketing. A good prompt, can you provide a 3 paragraph explanation of content marketing, focusing on how small businesses can use blogs and social media to increase brand awareness? So by mastering prompt creation, we as users can generate responses that are more relevant, actionable, and aligned with our needs. So super fun. All right. So here are some examples. So if you guys scan this, you're going to get access to 100 ways to try ChatGPT today. And there's 100 prompts in here. And it's just something, I use HubSpot a lot. This came from HubSpot. It's one of my favorite platforms when it comes to marketing and AI. And I stole this from them because why not? Why reinvent the wheel, right? But there's 100 prompts in here that you guys have access to. It's everything from research to content creation, videos, podcasts. I mean, customer service, so many things in here. So if you guys scan that, you'll be able to get a cheat sheet to some prompts. Okay, I'm assuming everyone got that. So let's practice. Okay, so I was going to, I thought we were going to have chat features, so I'm going to pretend I know some businesses that are in here. Um, why won't you go? Let's see.
If someone wants to raise their hand, I'll unmute them and they can say where they are.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
someone really jumped to it. All right, Corinne.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a line and I want you to fill it in for me. So let me start a new chat. Um, so here is a prompt that we're going to start with to try to build a customer profile. So I'm going to go on ChatGPT and I'm going to say, act as a marketing strategist, create a detailed customer persona for my business. So can you tell me what your business is?
A workforce development agency. Yes.
That,
Provides young adults work experience, ages 16 to 25, 24.
and what's your business name?
Career Source Capital Region.
Oh, okay. Okay. My ideal
Oh,
customer
I
is
did
likely. Mhm.
I did put a question in the chat, but yes, because I had some follow-ups in regards to the information you put in here.
Okay.
Um, yes.
I'm assuming my ideal customer is likely 16 to 24 in Tallahassee, Leon County area.
No, can you put Gadsden County? Because that's
Sure.
kind of where, yes.
And um, what is your ideal customer?
Ideal customer is a job seeker, motivated job seeker who is ready to take action in whichever program to help them land a job.
Okay.
Alternative routes to get a job, right? Not the traditional online application part.
Okay. For a program to help get a job. Okay, so what are their pain points? Unemployed.
Unemployed, accessibility, like transportation, um, soft skills. They don't know what soft skills to have. What else? I think that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Their fears is, I don't know if you want to know their fears as well. Maybe that
For
will
this one,
help.
I mean, it would, but for just the sake of this, I'm going to say their goals are to become employed, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So we would technically keep going with information, but I see you only have 15 minutes. So I did cut it a little bit, but here I did give it enough information. Career capital source, capital region, young adult work experience programs, ages 16 to 24, tailored to Gadsden County. And so it's telling me my primary customer persona is Jalen, the determined starter. Age 19, where they live, high school, and it breaks down pretty much your persona, your customer profile. Um, Now, let's say we have this, it's going to keep going, but let's say we have this and it stopped. Um, it's going to keep going. It's gonna keep going. So the more information you feed it, the more information you're gonna get back. And I'm gonna say it now. I would like, I can't type today. I would like you to develop two more personas based on. So some of the things that I could have done better, because at the end of the day, even though as long as I've been using this, I still like it's all about your outcome and what you want. And if we had time, I probably would have written a paragraph. But what I could have done better is said I want five personas or three personas, not just one. But I told it one, so it gave me one. And then after that, I was like, oh yeah, I should have more. So I asked for more. Step two is if it spits out what you're not feeling and you don't think it's accurate or appropriate, that's okay. You can either adjust, you can start over and put in some more information, or you can choose to do a whole separate persona with a whole separate prompt and keep the prompts very separate. How you decide to use this, something like ChatGPT, it's really up to you, and what you feel is best to get your desired outcome. So that's one example of how we can use ChatGPT to help with research, to then help take this and we can use this to now build our messaging. Because if you read through this and you're like, yeah, this is pretty accurate, because Corinne, you're in your business, you kind of know who your target demographic is, but this just helps you put it on paper and make sure everyone's on the same page. And once you have this, now you can take your messaging and do your core messaging and draft that based off these three personas you can stare at and look at. And I know it might be in your head, but it helps to have it sometimes written down and looking at it and then being able to divulge your messaging based off your different personas. So that's just one quick way of using ChatGPT. A lot of people use ChatGPT for social media posts. So, an example you could write a short form TikTok video script under 2 minutes for a dry cleaning company. Use three-part structure: hook, value, story, call to action, and include cues on screen, text, and audio suggestions. So if I were to throw that in here for a dry cleaning company in Tallahassee that has free pickup and delivery. So we knew we want a hook, we knew we want value and story, we knew we want a call to action. Again, I could have given it so much more detail, but I really want to get to Mid-Journey and a couple other things. So a quick thing, it's going to tell me, okay, here's an idea. You're holding a dry cleaning pile, looking overwhelmed. Quick question, why are you still driving our dry cleaning around in 2025? Tallahassee, stop doing this, blah, blah. Like, this is an okay suggestion. I mean, it's a good starting point to brainstorm. I definitely think it needs some things tweaked here and there, some better call to actions. But at the end of the day, it's a starting point. And what I was referencing to using AI, it's great for brainstorming. It's great to get your foot in the door and to get the juices flowing. And a lot of times, like our team will do something like this, and before we know it, we have a 10 times better idea because the key to brainstorming is throwing out the first ideas are typically not the greatest, right? Like we got to get those ideas out so that we can get to the secret sauce. So this helps us get to the secret sauce much, much faster. Okay, so another prompt or another one that we tend to use a lot is Midjourney. Hopefully everyone's familiar with that one. But we love Midjourney. It is one of our favorite platforms to use, especially because it speeds up a lot of storyboarding for us. So a lot of times when we're pitching videos or pitching ideas, we're very visual people. So we understand our clients are very visual. So we use this to help us quickly um, get to draft to mock up what we're thinking, so that we can quickly show the client and then get to the real thing if they approve it. And then we can take the time to do the video, we can do the photography and everything like that. So, does anybody want to volunteer to give me a prompt for Midjourney? Now, this is a creative visual one, so keep that in mind. Hmm, I don't know if anybody raised their hand because I can't see.
Just if you'll click the raise hand button, I'll unmute you.
Oh, yeah. I see that Lauren had a question, so I'm going to answer that. She said, the beginning of the presentation, what source did I pull those statistics from? So HubSpot did a study earlier this year. I believe it was about 500 marketers, if I remember correctly. And they polled them and they gave us the data points. So if you sign up for HubSpot Research on their platform, I can't remember what it's called. I'll have to look at it later. But you'll get a lot of that data sent to you and the reports that they do. You can also choose to participate as well if you're in marketing, and that will help them with their strategy and their research as well. And then, did somebody raise their hand?
No, not yet. We have a bunch of shy people here today, apparently.
Okay, I can do a prompt. But I also saw Corinne ask a question really quick, so I'll answer that just because I see we have like 8 minutes left, and I want to make sure I answer questions. So, what are the best practices to protect intellectual property when using AI tools? That is a great question. So, I actually sit on the National American Advertising Federation board, and this is a conversation we've had for the last year and a half. We've been working on legislation to try to come up with, I don't want to say new law per se, but new guidance on how to handle IP. So, in full transparency, anything that you create, so if I go here and I say, I'm going to do a really bad prompt for time's sake, but just so you guys can see, and I say, um, create a logo with a bird, let's say, or with a songbird that is in the style of South Park. I just do it out there. Um, it is going to create this logo. So you see all of these are cute. And if I wanted to use one for my company, I call my company Songbird, take one of these logos and use it. And I call them the IP lawyer and I say, hey, I want to copyright this. They're going to say, yeah, unfortunately, that's not possible because the law states that essentially a person, a human, has to create something for it to be valued as intellectual property, for you to be able to go out and get IP for it. So I feel so bad when people come to us and they're like, hey, we got this logo made. We just use an AI program and we can technically use it for them, but there's no protection with it because it wasn't created by a human. Now, if you use this for ideation and you show this to a designer or a creative or to someone you know that can draw, and they make about 40 to 60% of it different, then that counts. So this is a great way to use it as a drawing board, but you still need a human if you're wanting to take it and trademark it, then you would need a human to actually create it for you. Okay, so hopefully that answers the question on IP. Now, when it comes to writing, um, to be honest, I don't know 100% what the laws and rules are for writing per se, because our focus is more so on the visual aspect, and we run into problems all the time with visuals, which is why we work really hard to use this more as a elevation tool. So you can see here in our account, this is a video, but the thing is, this was drawn digitally by someone on my team, but we needed to make it an animation. We're out of time. So we put it in here in Midjourney and created the animation we needed and spit it back out. But this is a digital creation that was drawn by one of our designers. So this would be okay because it was still drawn by someone. We put it in here, made it an animation, and moved on. So that's an example of how you can get around the IP law. All right. So let's see. So the last thing I'm gonna show you guys is Idea Map. And this is a great tool for brainstorming. So for example, I'm just going to use one of their prompts that they have here, just so you guys can see how this works. But how do we balance digital connectivity with mental health in our daily lives? So if you have a question or for example, you're like, oh, we really want to do a video, but we have an idea, but we need some more help. This is a great platform for you to go to and put in your questions. And this is what it does. And it's a great cheat sheet. So it can get a little overwhelming because it's going to keep going and going and going and going. But it's really, really fun brainstorming tool to use. We only use this strictly for brainstorming. We do not use this for anything outside of that. But it's a great conversation starter when you're brainstorming. And that's ideamap.ai if anybody is curious and wants to try that. But essentially, it'll break down all of these points for you, give you some ideas, ask you some questions, and we use this and we sit around as a team and we kind of go through it, and it's just like I said, lovely bump in getting you out there faster. So at the end of the day, any of the AI platforms can help you improve your content quality, increase your efficiency, and enhance your personalization. As I mentioned earlier, it can help you with brainstorming ideas, writing basic copy or outlines, creating images or basic videos, and repurposing or adapting your content. And that's probably how we use it the most, is adapting our content. We'll write our content and then we'll go to AI prompt and say, hey, take this content that I wrote and repurpose it for a social media post that I want to be 3 sentences. And then once that's done, we'll put it back in and say, take this content that we wrote for our blog and summarize it for an email that can be 5 sentences. Or another example would be, hey, we wrote this blog, everything in this blog, what would you recommend a smart call to action would be? So that those are just some ways to, again, to help elevate how you use AI. At the end of the day, though, it shouldn't replace your entire content team. And I know we're close on time and I want to leave time just for questions. So I'm just going to end with this. Despite all the exciting things AI can do, it can't work on its own. It takes people with expertise, creativity, and empathy to harness AI's potential. It isn't about the technology itself, it's about what you as marketers will do with it. AI can't do anything without you, but you can do so much more with AI. And that's from Google's president. And just to cite my sources today, I use HubSpot Research a lot. I also use quite a bit blogs from Salesforce as well. And MMA has a lot of my research as well, because that's where I was mainly certified from. But yeah, so I will just open it with questions. Do you believe building AI agents for content creation is beneficial? If so, why? Absolutely. Um, Mainly because you can repurpose your content. I'm not a component of just going to AI and letting it write for you. And we do have a rule in my agency that you just can't throw it in AI and let it write it for you. But we can use it to repurpose that content for different platforms, and that does help us cut down on time. I hope that answered your question, Corinne. While I wait for questions to come in, I will just say some big things to think about is protecting yourself. Um, you know, be very careful what you put on the free platforms of AI because that is open source, it's open knowledge. People have access to it. Even personally for us, we don't put a lot of personal information, and we have paid platforms, and all of the ones that we use are paid. But we still are very careful about, making sure we put proprietary information in there because at the end of the day, yes, you could technically go into ChatGPT and tell it you don't want it to do that, but it's really hard to do that. And so to protect ourselves, we kind of keep it at surface level. But yeah, so avoid sharing sensitive customer info, financial data, like I said, any proprietary stuff. But thank you again for your time today. I'm sorry I went 1 minute over, but I'll stick around if anybody has questions. If not, no worries. And you guys can feel free to contact me. Here's my email.
I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, so first, thank you so much for sharing great best practices and different AI tools. We are trying to get more vertical video out there, and I know you mentioned that right now we're in a trust first era of marketing. And I
Mhm.
wanted to get some insight for those of us that may not have enough manpower or time to create video. What are some ways that we can use the AI tools to create video that does build trust?
Yeah, that's a loaded question because, for example, like we don't. How can I answer this? What is your goal with the videos? Is your goal with the videos to show resources, to give advice? Because you're career
So
source, right?
yes.
Okay.
So, I'm the marketing manager here for Career
Hmm.
Source, and the three things that I try to aim for with creating video is one, create engaging content
Hmm.
where either whoever's watching it can share or comment on the video. The
Hmm.
second part is the education part, which we do demos of our solutions
Hmm.
or share success stories about what we do and how our services impact the community. And then the
Hmm.
last part is empowering. So it's like, okay, how do we showcase the hero in the story, right? Like, how do we show like the benefits of using our solutions and how it helps the people in our community, the people we want to serve. So those are like the three aims that we have with video.
Okay. So are
Um,
you doing long format or short format?
Short format. This is for the TikTok shorts, YouTube
Hmm.
shorts,
Hmm.
Meta Reels placements.
Yeah. So I know I talked a lot about video. Um, but I'm probably the wrong person to ask because I don't believe in using um, AI for video unless it's like a quick animation that we've done something original for and we just need it moving really quick. The reason I'm not a component of that is because TikTok is acceptable for you to do cell phone videos. People expect them to be cell phone videos. It also humanizes your brand. It makes you more relatable. Now, how we use AI for video is very small, but we don't use it for the storyboarding in terms of the final product. When I say storyboarding, not the draft, the final product. But for example, we had a client a couple years ago. We did a customized song and had a singer. Well, that singer retired, and we need to come back and do another song. And the singer's like, yeah, I'm not doing that. But I was like, hey, are you comfortable with us? Because we had a bunch of cuts from the songs that they did prior. And I said, are you comfortable with us using those cuts and putting them into our AI software to then sing the new song with your voice? And they said yes. So we got them to sign the paperwork, where we got permission to use his voice. And then we put it in our systems and then we spit out a new song that with his voice and we put that on the video. But the actual video part of it, we did not use AI, just the audio. So it really comes down to, I mean, like me personally, I'm not a component, I'm not a fan of it, but people do it. I will say that AI videos perform very low on social media, very low. It'll surprise you on how low they perform because people don't interact with them. So the people who are using AI for videos, in full transparency, like those people have like $100,000 budget. And they can use platforms that are not accessible to everyday people like you and me, Corinne. So my advice would be to continue to do the videos with people around the office, yourself, and use AI in terms of animated graphics or for audio, or to even do the subtitles because that's a little bit of AI too. But I people do best when they can see who they're marketing to. You know what I mean? When they can see themselves, I mean.
Yes, and we serve 4 counties, so it's
Mhm.
trying to
Yeah,
success loves speed. So I'm
yeah,
trying to get
yeah,
something out there to reflect the target audiences we serve. But I do understand coming
yeah,
from in regards to having that cell phone captured
yeah. But
media.
you can use AI to help you edit faster.
Which tool do you recommend for that?
Uh, hmm,
Because we have a lot of B-roll that we could probably use.
yeah.
We just need to cut it
Hmm.
up.
Let me think on that and email you because I'm trying to think of a platform. Because I mean, like Mid-Journey, I mean, Adobe Firefly, like you can throw videos in there and do it. But what I'm suggesting for you, I want to say that's eventually going to be Google's new product, but let me double check. But in terms of doing things quickly, are you familiar with CapCut?
Yes, but don't they use everything we upload in there for their own licensing?
So when you purchase a business account, it will give you access to what's allowed for businesses.
Okay.
So you don't have to worry about that. If you're on a personal account, then yes. But if you have a business account, they will not put anything on there for businesses that is not conducive to businesses using the copyrights.
Great. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jeep, and thank you for the extra time that you've shared. We
Yep.
appreciate y'all. We will see everyone again on January 13th for our next webinar. We have Raj Maheshwapu. I probably just totally botched that. But he will be talking to us about AI in the public sector, about fraud prevention, data integrity. And so we will see you all back in January. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.